Okay, so today we're going to be talking through the Entombed Sentinels boss, which is likely going to be the second boss that we fight in this raid tier. It is very similar to the Cauldron of Carnage fight from Undermine, if you did that raid. It is a two-target boss fight, but they have to be 40 yards away from each other. You'll likely have some classes like Shadow Priests, Boomkins, Warlocks, Frost Mages that are going to want to stand in the middle and cleave on both. You definitely need to keep track of who those people are going to be. It can't be like a super large number of players because of the other mechanics that happen during the fight. And it also will have an impact on your two groups that you decide on making for both sides, because you want to make sure there's an even number of people actually on the boss on both sides to handle the mechanics. So let's start. We're actually going to start looking at it from the blood boss or green boss POV. So on this VOD, it's actually about halfway through or a quarter of the way through the fight, but we'll go back to the blood guy after. The reason that we're starting with the green boss is his mechanics basically impact the entire arena. So whether you're on the green side or the red side, you are going to be impacted by this boss's mechanics, right? So the first thing you're going to see from this guy is these arrows that point into the boss. Now, these arrows come from anywhere around the room and draw a straight line at the boss. That means that they can come from all the way on the other side where you're fighting the red guys. Because of this, that makes this lane between both bosses extremely deadly. So if you're planning on standing here and cleaving both bosses, you really have to keep your eyes open for this mechanic, and this is probably going to be the most dangerous part of the fight for you. You really need to be watching out for when this mechanic is about to start and keeping your eyes open and making sure you're in a safe spot and not getting hit. So you'll see these arrows go into the boss. It's kind of hard to see from the tank POV, but there's some coming from across the room as well. The second mechanic that happens on this fight for this side is the Venom Coagulation. It's just an ad. It pulses AoE. You want to keep it stacked up on top of the green guy. Other than that, you're really not targeting it ever. I mean, I guess there could be a situation where we need to target it if the damage is overwhelming, but likely we are just focusing on killing the boss, cleaving it down, making sure that it dies before we transition into the intermission. So this boss has one more mechanic. It is the toxic droplets, these green seeds. These are basically tendril seeds from Amirdrasil. They spawn all over the room, just like I said for the line mechanics. Anyone on the red side is going to have to deal with these as well. Basically, you have 12 seconds to soak them, and after 12 seconds, they explode. So everyone is helping out soaking these. There's going to be some that spawn in the blood pools that are around. They're going to slowly fill up the arena as the fight goes on. On PTR, sometimes they were even spawning in these like canals on the edge. Likely that's not going to happen on live, hopefully. But definitely something to keep your eyes out for. Basically, we just want to prio soaking these as quickly as possible, right? So those are the three main mechanics for this guy. So now let's go back and look at the blood guy, because the blood guy's mechanics are basically isolated. They don't affect the green boss at all. So you'll see we can start from the beginning of the fight. And from the beginning of the fight, you'll see that the green boss is spawning the seeds right away. It's going to happen right now. Here's all the seeds going out. They spawn literally right under the red guy, right? So they're spawning all over the arena. We're soaking these on the red side. We're soaking these on the green side. That's all good. Immediately after that, this is the first blood mechanic, and basically the only blood mechanic that you're super worried about is this soak. So this soak is targeted on a random player. It is not on the tank like a lot of soaks in raids recently. It is on a random player on the red side. This needs to get brought into melee, and it will distribute 9 stacks of a debuff called Clinging Miasma. So ideally, you want 9 people in this soak so that each person gets 1 stack. Now, why is that important? Obviously, it is a dot, so it's going to do more damage on you if you get more than 1 stack. So, for example, if there's 8 people in this soak, one random person is going to get 2 stacks because it has to distribute the 9 stacks, and they're going to take more damage. But also, any blood dot that you get during this fight, when it expires, will drop a blood pool. And the size of that blood pool scales with the number of stacks of that dot that you have. So if you have 2 stacks of the dot, you're going to drop twice as big of a blood pool, and not necessarily twice as big, but a bigger blood pool, and it gets bigger the more stacks that you have. I wanted to show a little bit of a weird quirk of this blood mechanic as well with the stacks. There seems to be a little bit of an anti-sack thing going on here that Blizzard implemented. Basically, in this clip, what you're going to see is a Disc Priest in Uppies gets the soak, doesn't have an animation for the soak, dies mid Uppies, and keeps the stacks.
Try to go over here. We
So
can be good with room. Go over.
you'll see they died. They still have the 9 stacks of the miasma debuff. As soon as they get rezzed from death here, it immediately drops the stacks. You see the stacks dropped, and the 9 stack blood pool takes up the entire arena. So sacking this soak does not seem like a valid option, and I wonder if this also applies to if you try to immune it. I couldn't find any logs of anyone trying to immune this soak, so we'll have to see during live, but definitely something to keep your eye out for. So you'll see here, they get people into the soak. The stacks are distributed, and you can actually see the tank has 2 stacks because 9 people weren't in it. So his blood pool is going to be slightly bigger. It's going to be hard to tell because he's right up against the wall. But basically, as soon as the stack goes out, we're spreading along the wall. The debuff is going to expire. We drop our blood pool and we move out. And that's basically the only thing that happens from the blood side. That's the main mechanic that you have to deal with. Obviously, you're dealing with the green guy mechanics as well, but that's the extra added mechanic of the blood guy. The only other mechanic in this phase is kind of a nothing burger for the blood boss. It's called Blighted Blood. It is a cast. It applies a debuff to literally one player, and if it is dispelled, nothing happens. It does like a 200k every 2-second tick. It's 1 dispel. Obviously, if you let it run the entire 18-second course, it will drop a puddle when it expires. But if you just dispel it, it goes away and nothing happens. I'm thinking maybe on live, when you dispel it, it will drop a puddle, but on PTR, it was not. Now you see these red circles that just got applied to everyone. That's actually the Mythic mechanic. Now, this is the only change on Mythic, is this mechanic. And the way it works is, periodically throughout the fight, some players are going to be targeted by shifting proto-venom. It seemed like on PTR it was an even number distributed among both sides. That might not be true, but from the VODs that I've seen, it was an even number, so you never had to like go to the other side to clear your debuff. Hopefully that is not the case, and we don't have to do that. So the way this works is players are targeted with this. If they to get rid of it, you touch another person with the debuff. If you touch anyone who does not have the debuff, you both take large damage and get knocked back. So you're going to want your raid leader to be keeping track of the timer of this coming out and call for a pre-spread before it goes out. So everyone is nice and spread, the debuff goes out, and then the players with the debuffs can just collide with each other and clear it. Just like that. In my mind, the way it's probably going to work is you're going to have the pre-spread, and then if you don't get the debuff, underneath the boss is going to be safe. So you just, if you're melee, you go under the boss. If you're range, you can just move out of the way, right? It should be easier to move out of the way. But if you're melee, you just go underneath the boss, hide out there, and then anyone with the debuff will just go around the boss to clear their debuff. There's going to be a lot of different ways that you can handle this, but in my mind, that seems like a pretty easy solution, and that's probably what we're going to go with. And yeah, that's basically everything that happens on this fight other than the intermission. So the last thing that we have to worry about on this fight is the intermission. So once both bosses hit 100 energy, they're going to run to the middle and they're going to collide. This is just like Cauldron of Carnage, except here they take no damage. It's 99% DR. So you're really not worried about hitting these guys at all during this. As soon as they start running towards the middle, everyone's spreading out. Do not be on top of anyone because you're going to get a debuff. And it is a number 1 through 3. It's the green part of this. So this guy is a 2. You can see this guy, he's a 3. He has 3 green dots. This guy is a 1. He has 1 green dot. You can also tell what your number is if you look at your debuff. His debuff is a 2 stack. So that means you have 2. I'm sure Northern Sky will have a way to just tell you what your number is with TTS or something when it's applied. But the objective here is to create 4. So if you're 2, you're combining with another 2. If you're a 1, you're combining it with a 3. If you're a 3, you're combining with a 1. And that's it. As soon as everyone cleanses their debuff, the intermission ends. So to maximize our damage on this fight, we want to do it as quick as possible. We're not worried about hitting the bosses because they're completely DR'd. But don't rush it so much that you're killing people or yourself by combining with the wrong number. So see here, everyone handles their debuffs. Some people are still hitting the boss because they don't know what's going on. Measure. Other than that, that is the entire fight. Once the intermission ends, you're actually swapping bosses. But we're going to stay on the same side of the room, right? So if you were red boss for the first round, second time you're going to be green, but you're going to be on the same side. So you see the tanks are swapping their boss and pulling the boss across. One thing to note as a tank is if you were tanking the red guy, you actually have this stacking debuff. You can see here it's about to expire, and this is a blood dot. So when you swap to the green guy, you're going to have this debuff expire, and it's going to drop a big pool. So you want to make sure you see here he's going into the corner. His debuff drops. He drops a pool, moves away. And then the fight just repeats from there.